In early to mid-August, I usually try to make 1 or 2 trips to one of my favorite spots on the east coast of Vancouver Island to beach fish for pink salmon. Whenever possible, my son Reed accompanies me. It's a chance for me to break out the fly rod, catch the odd pink, and happily watch as my son outfishes me using his beach rod set up to cast a fly. In 2022, however, I was still catching summer coho right into the middle of August on the west coast of the island. And since our last pink fishing trip, Reed had at least temporarily traded the coastal beauty of Vancouver Island for the rugged majesty of the Rockies and was working as a cook at the Banff Springs Hotel. Moreover, reports I was getting indicated that the early pink fishing on the east coast of the island was spotty at best. In the end, I decided to forego my annual pink fishing trip. I was determined, however, not to skip my yearly pilgrimage to another favorite East Coast Vancouver Island spot to beach fish for Chinook. Not every trip ended with a fish on the beach, but I often saw this guy land a fish. Frequently this guy landed fish. Sometimes it was this guy or this guy. And from time to time, even this old shore fisherman managed to put a fish on the beach. But I always considered catching a fish a bonus. And fish or no fish, this was an absolutely gorgeous spot to spend a day, and I looked forward to it every year. At this particular location, I like to fish the ocean beach on the north side of the estuary, so the tide is a critical factor. As a rule of thumb, you need a window where the tide is at 2.3 meters or less in order to get across and back again safely. I managed to book some accommodation for September the 6th and 7th, which just happened to coincide with such a window. I then got hold of Gil d'Oliveira and made arrangements to meet him and Randy Kirkpatrick on the 7th for a day of Chinook fishing. Oh, we got miles of beach here and nary an angler in sight. That's fairly windy, but it's shaping up to be a pretty nice day otherwise. I don't know if I'll be able to pick it out with this camera, but those are springs coming through that little riffle there. I had brought my fly rod with me, so I decided to backtrack to a pool and try a few casts. It was fun to watch these big springs heading up the river, but it was clear they had absolutely no interest in feeding. Those are big fish. And we got a few more coming up here. But they've got one thing on their mind, and it isn't biting any fly. Right over my line. After a few more casts, I continued my trek out to the beach. As I crossed another channel, springs exploded around my feet. Crazy. And that'd be Gil standing up there. You don't have one on the beach yet?
No, I was so tempted at those fish going up the roof. They're going to come back down. High tide's at 9:41. Where's your son?
He's working in Alberta.
Oh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I miss him. Oh, here we are heading out to the far bar that I like to fish on. I like Gil lead the way. He's shorter than I am. If he gets wet, I turn around. Randy was already out at the surf line, but he made his way back to deliver some good-natured ribbing about my fly fishing.
Fly guys trying to floss fish in a little stream.
They don't floss.
How you doing, Randy?
I'm guaranteed they bite.
Oh yeah, they bite.
I'm told they bite.
Just like
I see you got a fly on there.
Yeah, that was the first cast I ever made with a fly.
Oh, that's right. You use a torpedo float.
Yeah.
For the things.
Yeah.
That was one of Gil's specials, I think.
Yeah, I got a bunch of those I brought with me just in case I managed to have a few of those bite
I
in
got
there.
some wool somewhere if you want. You know what? I find, like
They're coming down, Randy. See, he's working something.
do they come in here too?
Well, this is part of the river. These two pieces here. They both join in this area here. This is where I think it's going to be good.
I've always found that right where that mixture of the fresh and salt is, they don't generally want to bite either.
No,
You know,
they're flossing them. Let's be honest.
I'll never tell a fly guy that.
I brought it.
He's crossed the line.
No, it's always had a spinning rod out here.
No.
No, I got the fly rod I brought today.
Well, I know that's what you were using there.
Yeah.
I was saying. Floss rod.
Yeah, because when I was watching it at a distance, I didn't think it was you. I go, oh, it's like a. Hey, I'm gonna try some casts out here. See what happens.
So you've been slaying them in the river too?
No, not really. I don't think either of us have been. Gil got 2 coho one day, which was great. Been getting fish, but I don't call it slaying.
Yeah.
First day we went to the Sumas. My brother-in-law got about an 8-pounder. Next time we went, Gil got 2 coho. Next time, what happened? Oh, just Gil and I, and that was a good day. I picked up early about an 8-pound undersized, and it just stayed chrome, even when I filtered it at home. And then we ended up getting ready to leave, and he saw it jump, so we fished for another couple hours in searing heat. I got an 18, he had a 15 and 13. Next time we went here, on last Saturday, there must have been 20 fishers, and we were there at 6:30 fishing. And I only saw 1 coho by me caught, a couple hooked up. Gil got about a 10-pounder, and he says down below where he was on the Sumas, there was a couple more landed, and just unreal. That just nothing, and it should have been. There was no reason for there not to be fish. And we went to this new spot on the Stamp a couple days ago, and big pool, and what did Gil walk away with? About a 15 and a 13 again, and I got a 20. Brother-in-law lost one, but 2 young guys coming. They were supposedly got a couple of coho in these rapids just below us, and we were picking up a couple. There were lots of bigger springs, but where they were, it was just eating rigs, just snagging all the time, and the big springs were taking them downstream, and that's a young guy's thing, Like it was just, if you were getting smaller coho and undersized, springs under 10, you could land them there. Otherwise, you were going to have to run down the river.
Yeah, we're getting too old for that.
Well, and one guy had hooked up, they thought was about a 15-pound coho, and he fought it for quite a while, and ended up being about a 10-pound wild steelhead. So, they had some great fights, but, they were replacing hooks. But I think we were lucky to come out, but it was a hell of a walk out for 20 minutes carrying, my 20, got a 20-pounder. Well, I hear you've been getting some coho down south?
Yeah, I really did well this summer. It was just crazy. I was telling Gil, I probably landed at 100.
And that's what time of year did that start?
I generally start checking around the 1st of July. After spending a few more minutes catching up, Randy and I headed out to the surf line. Oh, that's a pretty sight. Not the people, but the fact that there aren't many people. Just Randy and Gil and I out here. Got some big waves. Well, Randy's got one on here. He lost it. A short time later, I hooked into a spring. After letting it take its first run, I reached down to turn the camera on. As bad luck would have it, the bracket attaching the camera to the chest harness broke, and the GoPro fell down into the top of my waders. So all I ended up with were some shots of my hands, the reel, and the sky, and the sound of the reel singing as the fish took line. I finally just turned the camera off, and as it happened, the fish spit the hook as I was trying to get it up onto the beach.
Okay.
But it was exciting while it lasted. Before we called it a day, Randy tied into a nice wild coho. With my GoPro tucked away, I had to dig my phone out and only managed to catch a couple of seconds of him releasing the fish and then chasing it to try and get it headed back in the right direction. There's actually more to that story, but I'll leave it for another day. He should go. He's gonna go. There we go.